G'day folks, and welcome to World of Tanks with the Magnificent Margon. Well, it has been quite a while. I've been meaning to do this review video for, well, a fair amount of time now. I played the M40 for quite some time now. I have really enjoyed this scumbag. Now, as you'll know, I did the M12 review back in probably April, so it's been a long time coming. I've had a long slog grinding this thing up, and then I loved it. I had that amazing sort of lucky battle on it, and the tier 7 gun just doing the 1250 damage basically was just brilliant. It felt really good. And then all of a sudden I went from that gun there to the 8-inch howitzer M1, and oh my god, this thing is just hilarious. When you get this thing swinging and you get this thing hitting, at the moment, the last few battles I've played, because I'm sure it's just the fact that they're all so excited that I'm literally only, well, 5k away from getting the M43 55, that the crew is currently missing every single target I shoot at. I'm sitting there going, why? You guys do an average damage of 3k for me every battle. Why are you now trolling me so hard just because we're so close? Let's get this done. So I was actually hoping to have the tier 9 scumbag by now, the T92, but unfortunately I do not. But nonetheless, I've actually got my ace tanker badge on this thing, and it was incredible. It was a very interesting dynamic battle. I really didn't anticipate and expect it to be as fun as what it was. Now, the 8-inch howitzer gun is very powerful, as I've said, doing a whopping 1850 damage with 102 pen. I have actually loaded, as you can see, one armor piercing round, which gives me an armor piercing shot of 241. I've done that recently after the ace tanker badge, because I was versing in the battle an E100 and a mouse, I believe. I felt very strongly for the fact that even though I was doing quite a significant amount of damage to them by firing HE at them, realistically, it wasn't as great as what I want. Now, I probably should have dropped one of my premium rounds. I don't actually use the premium rounds. Best thing about the premium rounds is the burst range. As you can see, the burst range is 8.49 compared to the normal HE, which is only 6 meters basically. So you get an extra 2 meters of premium rounds, and as much as it's all well and good, I think for the price of the premium rounds, it's not really, it's worth it and it's not worth it. Depends upon where you come from. I found the HE, yeah, if I was using premium rounds, it would have costed me an absolute fortune over the last probably 15k battles that I've played. 15,000, not 15,000 battles, but 15,000 XP battles. If I was just firing premium rounds, it would just destroy all the silver and stuff that I have, and I'd be probably using gold to actually buy back what I've lost. Firing the HEs is just all you need to do with this thing. I generally find I'm doing most of the time up to about 700 damage plus, depending on heavy tanks, and if I get a direct hit, that is. And on medium tanks, most of them I'm one-shotting. I can't believe how many times lately since the 9.5 patch I've actually one-shot a Tiger 2 before recently. I stood there just go, where did that 1600 worth of damage go? I must have just penetrated the right point where the ammo rack was and just blew that thing up. It was hilarious to watch. I just couldn't stop laughing. But generally that's what I use this tank for. It's just something that you jump into just to blow stuff up. Now a lot of people sit there and say, oh, scumbags, why would you play one? Well, when I get frustrated with playing my other tanks, I find this thing is just something you get into, particularly when you go up through the different tiers. Probably scumbags really start to come in their element around sort of tier 8, tier 7. As you can see, I'm working on getting the Mighty Burt. I'm currently working on a Bishop. Just another fun thing, seeing as I'm getting closer and closer to the tier 10 American. I thought, why not start another one just to have some more fun in, and I decided to go the British line. But yeah, I use this as my therapy basically. When I'm sick and tired of watching my team die and fail, well, why don't I just die and fail with style and go in and blow people up? But anyway, that's beside the point. That's pretty well everything about the tank. 400 hit points, so generally if you get hit by most HEs, you're probably going to die in one shot. The top speed being 40 km/h is, well, 38 km. It's not too bad actually. Traverse speed 22, yeah, pretty average. As I said, like 1 round a minute basically. Every 40 seconds I think I'm firing a shot off with this thing, which is impressive. Particularly when you do such a high alpha damage. So yeah, it's been wonderful. It's been really good to play, and the 100 mils of penetration does help. As you can see, I have got a large gun caliber rammer. I've also got enhanced gun lane drive, just to give me that faster aiming speed at stabilizing the gun and stuff, as well as I put a camo net on. I have actually considered putting, instead of the gun lane drive, possibly doing oh, what was it? No, the toolbox I have considered, just every now and then when you do get detracked by that lucky shot that just misses you or splashes beside you, I find that this thing gets detracked very easily. If I can get that track over a bit quicker sometimes without using a repair kit, it comes in handy. Now, as you can see, I do carry a large first aid and an automatic fire extinguisher. This thing used to get lit on fire all the time for me. Put this on, don't get lit on fire, because it's 10% preventative of fire. Large repair kit to keep my crew alive. Generally I find the first shot a lot of the time being a HE has killed my crew. And it has been quite disappointing at times when my crew members die, because it becomes weaker, particularly when you lose a loader. A lot of the time I lose one of the loaders. So I have put the large one on just for that. I have put a small repair kit just so I can repair if I need to quickly, but generally most of my tanks will carry large. I actually think the M12 carried a large. No, it carried small too. Interesting. Must have just felt a bit more generous with this one. But that's all that, guys. Let's go over and let's have a look at my ace tanker battle. Alright guys, here we go, on Malinovka. Now Malinovka is an interesting map. It's probably one of the better maps for scumbags, but at the same time it's very difficult for scumbags. I've always found that it's just one of those maps that you're never quite sure whether you're gonna do really well or really crap in. Since playing on Malinovka more or less, I haven't had that many great battles. I thought I'd have a lot more than what I have had, and it's been a bit disappointing due to those factors. Obviously you get that 1 in a million. What the hell is going on? Okay, my replay's bugging out big time. Why am I aiming off to the left hand side of the map? Okay. Anyway, obviously, yeah. Okay, we've got a buggy replay here. Okay, whatever. It's going to be this a little bit interesting, but anyway. As you can see, they've done a very fast, aggressive attack on the southern road. IS-7, a bat chat. well, both the bat chats, well, it looks all three of the bat chats, which are in a platoon. And that was the scariest thing for me. I was really worried as a scumbag about a triple platoon bat chat. Here we go. Merry Christmas. As you can see, straight through the front, nearly 700 damage, 683 damage. Now that's the best way to start. At poor IS7, but that's generally the way it goes. As you can see, our bat chats and have moved up the top. Obviously all three of them are up there. No, there's someone else up there. Obviously the T62A is up there as well. Yes. So they've gone up there to have a bit of fun. Now the VK45, another half-friendly tank. Can I get him? Here we go. Wait for it. Zoom in a bit more. Fired. Only 318, but that's okay. Pretty dangerous tank taken out. Now we've got the Waffenträger E100 down here. And this is the biggest problem. Because the bat chats were so aggressive at the start, they were able to get their heavy tanks and this TD across to this side of the river, which gave them a huge advantage on this front. Now realistically, our T57, the bat chats, and all the guys up the north really need to start being a bit more aggressive to push back the medium tank and get into a position where they can actually start to be of use on the heavy tanks that are on that side as well, because the E100 and the mouse are pretty well over there. They're in hold down positions just about. They're pretty well hold down whatever they do. I decided it's time to give up the southern flank. I need to help the northern flank push through. I've got probably the penetration to do it, and it's time. So I'm getting ready to aim up on this Foch 155. Now the Foch TD is relatively strong, but at the same time it's only strong because of the way it operates with its gun mantle. Now I missed him. He's obviously moved on. It was probably a bit silly of me to do that, but then I saw this, and you look at the map and you just go, oh, them bat chats are a little bit close, and I'm still reloading. I've got 25 seconds basically. I'm sitting here thinking I can see my life flashing before my eyes, and this is the end of my game. I've done 1,000 damage. This is crap. This is not what I need right now. 2 smart ass bloody bat chats down the creek area, and 1 bloody carrying on round mid. And this is where the game dynamics change, because the mouse is pushed up the hill quite aggressively. Look at this. I've just got screw you, bat chat. Smash one really hard straight through the front of him, doing 700 damage. And look at that. He's on really dangerously low health now, which is good for us. And this is where I thought, oh, we could turn this around. The game's still pretty close. It's a pity that we've lost the hill. We've lost a lot of our really good players, but at the same time they're starting to lose a lot of their medium tanks, which in essence has given us a slight advantage. But of course, when you see a mouse on the hill, they're the targets you've got to go for. More or less, I'm just pre-aiming to a position where he's going to roll through, and hopefully I can hit him. Let's see. I haven't watched this replay for a long time. Look at that. 764 damage with a HE shell straight through the side of the mouse. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, you don't need premium rounds. Like, it probably would have been better to have a armor piercing round, and that's when I was sitting there thinking, gee, imagine if that was armor piercing. It would have pierced straight through, probably done maximum damage of 1400 maybe, and put that mouse in a completely different position. Now I saw that tree go down, which tells me there's someone there. There's the Foch, and I did wonder whether I'd hit the Foch, due to the fact that That was close. What was that for? I did 600 damage for that was close. I did wonder whether I hit the Foch earlier in the piece. To what I know, I probably did give him a little bit of splash damage early on, but there's no way of actually properly telling. As you can see, I'm now up to 301 damage, and I thought, wow, this is actually really, really good. We're sort of in a lockdown, hold down position where we're protecting, and it's in some ways up to me to make sure that I can keep the alpha damage back. If I hadn't fallen back, then I may have been able to give that mouse another really good hit. But unfortunately, my thing is really bugging out now. I was just unable to actually do what I needed to. But there you go. There's another 741 damage on the front, mind you, and he was probably pretty well angled. And that's the advantage about HE shells. As soon as they hit a target, they're doing damage, and that's the brilliant thing. And that's why carrying HEs and probably the Scumbag is probably one of the best things. It just gives you that really good advantage at times. Now, this is the worst thing. We're 7 for 7, but the only thing is, we really start to trade very badly at the end of this game, just because the mouse and the E100 are just so strong that realistically I'm one of the few that can actually do the damage to the tanks. Now look at this, a full health E100 comes screaming down the hill. I've done 573 damage to him. There's not much else I can do. I'm down to 3 HE shells left, doing a total of 4,400 damage so far. I'm really annoyed about how bugged out the whole crosshair is at the moment. It's actually really frustrating to a certain extent. As you can see, I'm aiming in again on the mouse. I wanna try and knock one of these guys out to give us an advantage. Like, we're getting chewed up like no tomorrow now. There's nothing I can do. I can only do so much as a Scumbag. There we go. Fire on him. Took him out. Great. But as you can see, now it's 10 for 8, and it's just, yeah, we've traded too many tanks in that engagement that it has costed. Now, as you can see, regularly throughout the battle, if you watch my chat log, I do use the F keys, like F8 for reloading, spacebar to tell people what I'm shooting on. And this is the thing. I've now killed the mouse, and the E100 driver is actually a pretty smart driver. Here's the Foch. I know the Foch is probably more of a threat, but the E100 is a pretty big threat at the same time too. So I've been umming and ahhing on what I need to actually aim at and shoot at while I've been loading up. Basically, it comes down to whoever is in the location, like that Foch was, I'll shoot him. Now, on one HE shell, I'm pretty well by myself here. I am relying on the bat chat to spot for me. Oh, I just got shot on the side by the bat chat because he's not paying attention. So I pulled down into the water here, knowing that this is probably the last stand position. I get rammed by the bat chat. More or less, it's time to be a piggy in the mud. Let's just be a piggy in the mud. IS-7 is capping in base. Aim up. Trying to get the shot on him. Fired. Take it. Perfect. There is 5,600 damage done this battle. That's just me and a bat chat versus the rest of the team. And it was just a real shame that this couldn't be a victory. I can't believe how hard I worked. I was going to commit suicide. I then decided, no, you know what? Let's face death. Let's stare death down the barrel of my gun. And here he comes. Here's death. I'm like, 16 seconds away. Not fair. Oh, ramming speed. It's not going to do me much. But it's the way it goes sometimes. It was just a real shame for such a tragic end to this battle. I was sort of a little bit upset. Because I'd worked so hard through the whole of this battle, and I know that a lot of the time with Scumbags it comes down to the shots are very, very lucky. and it was just, yeah, we at times where we traded tanks, and this E100 driver, well done on the late play that he played. He obviously took so long to get up the hill, and then to come back down the other side, that it gave him all his health in full. No one had spotted him earlier, which means he didn't retain any damage as he was coming, and it left us pretty well high and dry, and there was not much we could do. So it was a shame. It was a real shame, this battle. But nonetheless, this was my ace tanker battle. As you can see, taking the E100, I probably would have drowned myself if I had the few more seconds. But I decided, nah, let's just face death. Let's go out there and greet it with a smile. And why not? If he's going to ram me, I'll ram him back. It's not like I'm going to do any damage to him anyway. He'd probably kill me in one shot like he did, and I didn't do any extra damage, so what else can you do? So anyway, over at the results here, as you can see, ace tanker, bruiser, well, most definitely for the way that I've pretty well pounded the enemy. I got the Gauze medal. I've had this a couple of times now. I've had a couple of Gauze medals, which, as you can see, it must not destroy any allied vehicles. Hit allied vehicles are not counted. Blah blah. That is basically causing 10 times the amount of damage. Well, when I only have 400 hit points and I've done nearly 6,000 damage, that's not bad. As well as retaining the high caliber award. I used to get a lot of these when they first came out. Obviously, now that it's settled down, the high calibers are not as easy to collect, more or less. As you can see, IS7, the VK45A, the Bat Chat, the AMX Foch, I did hit, and I ended up doing that 200 damage that I thought I'd done to the guy, causing only 816 to him, as well as hitting the mouse and destroying the mouse, the IS7, the VK45, and the E100. So it was actually pretty good. Pity it was a defeat, but I made 69,000 and 1,800 experience points. As you can see from the damage models, 5,000 damage, like 5,811 damage, not bad. The closest was that IS7, and he had a damn good game. E100, probably most of his damage was done in that last engagement when he came down that hill. Brilliant job. We kept the mouse from doing much more damage, but the Bat Chats, they pretty well won this battle for their team by doing spotting damage. Look at that. What's that? Damage upon detection. Yep. Where's the other one? Here we are. Oh, 700. That's not too bad. And this chap here, 1900. So realistically, the 3 Bat Chats, as much as they're probably doing the damage and assisting each other, that's probably their greatest strength in that team. Our scouts, despite the amount of damage that they've done, our two bats, and they did a great job spotting, probably about the same. Just didn't scout quite like this team did, and it's hard when you're individuals to scout better than a team does. But the IS7, the E100, and our E4 notably did a fairly decent job, doing pretty good damage. Could have been probably a little bit better for them, but you can't complain. So all in all, it was pretty good. When we look at the experience, I got one of the highest experiences in a defeat. So realistically, I did better in a defeat than what these guys did in a normal victory. The STB1, the Japanese medium tank, probably being the closest to me, getting 1059 XP. So I actually am pretty proud. Only one to receive any awards as such, getting both the Gauze and the high caliber. And as you can see, I have got a premium account, so it was actually not too bad. I did only make 37,000 credits at the end of the battle, but that's the way it goes sometimes. So guys, that's pretty well it for the review. 12 shots fired, 8 direct hits, 3 splash damages, and 8 penetrations. That's pretty good. I was really happy with this game. I do really strongly recommend if you find it frustrating at times, the way battles and things play out, that maybe you need to take a break from normal realistic tanks. That was the whole purpose of me playing a Scumbag. Kaze pretty well got me into it. Kaze was sort of like, let's just do a Scumbag. Why not have a Scumbag battle? Blah blah blah, and all the other kit and caboodle that you do. And I was sort of a bit reluctant at first, but these days now I'm pretty well. I've gone through it and I've enjoyed it. I can honestly say that playing a Scumbag has been very, very relieving for me, and I have enjoyed as much as you can enjoy playing a Scumbag. It's just at times you can sit there and you can laugh, and throughout that battle I was laughing. I could not stop laughing. I just thought it was ridiculous how much damage I was doing to E100s and mouses. Pretty well frontal penetration, doing 700 damage. That's more damage than what most of the guys would do in general. So I've been impressed. I have been really impressed by this tank, and I hope you guys understand that there is a right and a wrong way to play it. Now, some people might outload it with armor piercing rounds. I, on the other hand, yeah, I outload dominantly with high explosives. Never go wrong with high explosives, particularly against heavy tanks. But the armor piercing round, I haven't tried it yet, and I've had it sitting there waiting for that rare opportunity that I get where I can do damage to either a mouse or an E100 with it. But guys, look, first video for the year. I should have done one yesterday, being the first, but I decided I just didn't have the time and the capability. But pretty well after today, I'm gonna probably have the tier 9 Scumbag, the T92. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this review. I know it's been probably a little bit longer than what you probably would have for a review, but it is a great tank. As much as a lot of people say that Scumbags are bad, Scumbags are scum, and all the other kit in the caboodle, I really think that they do have a place in World of Tanks. They do make a difference, and there have been lots of different ideas around about Scumbags. I saw one on a forum page that I do look into every now and then that was talking about what they could do to modify it. One of them was actually saying that in there was a few little options to make Scumbags more or less more mobile, to force players to play better, so that if you fire 2 rounds in an area on the grid, 4 squares will light up where you possibly could be, because it's sort of people have detected where your shells are coming from. And then if you keep in the same position, it goes down to 1 square, saying this is where the Scumbag is, in this square here, which means that other artillery could potentially shoot you. But as long as you keep your tank moving around and stuff like that, it wouldn't work. But you know what, as much as people want to change the way Scumbags work, I think they're fair, and they're fair enough as it is. I get some terrible games, and I get some monster games in these things. But that's how that, guys. Look, enjoy whatever tanks you want to play. Enjoy the tanks that you do play. Happy hunting, and I'll catch you on those battlefields.